Alright, so last year, in late 2024, we finally received the release of No More Room in Hell 2, a sequel to the beloved Half-Life mod turned standalone game that came out over a decade prior. And upon release of this very long-awaited zombie survival game, fans and newcomers alike were pretty disappointed to say the least, as every part of this game, and excuse my language here, was complete poo-poo garbage buns. I cannot emphasize how bad No More Room in Hell 2's release was. I'm talking bugs and glitches scattered throughout every moment of playing, iconic features that made the franchise popular in the first place somehow missing here, and overall just stale gameplay set within one, and only one map, the power plant. It's safe to say that No More Room in Hell 2 genuinely had one of the most unfinished releases of all time. So much so that I would argue that games like No Man's Sky had a better release than whatever this is. And I'm not the only one who shared this sentiment. Within just a few weeks, the player count tanked on the Steam charts. It got to the point where there would just be a few dozen people playing this at a time, while its decade-old predecessor continued to outperform it. But to say that all hope for this sequel was lost isn't entirely true. Upon receiving heavy outrage from the community, new owners of the IP, Torn Banner Studios, promised to fix this mess at all costs, with them even posting a roadmap for future updates within the game itself. Torn Banner had really one shot to rectify this mistake of a release, as if they couldn't roll out meaningful updates in a short time span, No More Room in Hell 2 would be deader than any of the zombies that they include. It's been around 8 months since its disastrous release as of making this video, so how have things been for the sequel? Well, good. In fact, things have been kinda great for this game. Countless updates have been rolled out every month, and it's gotten to the point where the player count has reached new peaks, as thousands of people were playing this in April alone. No More Room in Hell 2 had changed so much since it first came out, and that's what I want to cover in this video. So, yeah. Let's just get into this shit. Starting off with the most apparent addition in No More Room in Hell 2, one that should have been here upon launch because, without it, this game quickly became a repetitive mess. There is now ammo calibration. I know, this is pretty groundbreaking, but please keep your pants on. Instead of finding a box of pistol ammo or rifle ammo, we now have boxes of different calibers that your gun will exclusively take. So instead of just running around all areas and collecting color-coded ammo boxes, you have to now be a bit more perceptive with what you're picking up. You clearly wouldn't need 5.56 ammo if you only have a pistol that takes 9mm rounds. It's things like these that make the game just a bit more immersive, as showing something like the different ammo calibration makes the player more engaged with the looting system, so it's no wonder that this would be the most significant change in this game ever. Oh, and there's also a new map. Titled Pottsville, this new map was added in Torn Banner's more recent update, which took place in mid-April. Unlike the rural power plant, this new area takes on a more urban approach, which is definitely the right decision. That's not me saying that there was anything wrong with the power plant. I think it's an interesting map. You know, there's fire, and there's that, like, ranger who shoots himself. You know, he's pretty cool. But whoever had the bright idea of releasing the game with only one map and keeping it that way for months on end should never be in charge of making a game ever again. It just feels so refreshing to finally have another map to play, and aside from recency bias, I would even say that Pottsville is a more enjoyable map to play. In general, this area has more of a small town vibe. Upon starting the mission, all players will spawn at the bottom part of the map, where most of the suburban neighborhoods are located. Players are first tasked with finding different tools and accessories that are located randomly in the homes where previous CRC responders have died to death. These tools are needed to power up said suburban neighborhoods because... Anyways, once the areas are fully powered on, it's time to move up to the convention center, where many survivors are trapped and in need of help. Although you can't physically see them, you can sure as shit hear them, and with all the shouting and crying they do, it's a wonder to me how any of these people survived for this long. But I digress. To save these people, you and the other respawners must distract the zombies long enough at the bottom floors of the center until a helicopter comes to extract these worthless people. And I'm telling you all this right now, this segment is pretty tricky. You're trapped within a very confined building with seemingly endless zombies breaking in at any moment. It's trouble enough to be in this confined area for just a few minutes, but you'll have to be fighting hordes of the undead for a fairly decent amount of time. And if you thought you could stay in a corner until extraction, you're dead wrong. No pun intended. Actually, fuck it, pun intended. At times, the radio used to distract the zombies away from the survivors can shut off, forcing you to go back to it and turn it on. So the chance of getting overwhelmed by these zombies is pretty damn high. And that's not even the end of the mission, as once you save these survivors, your last objective is to move up some more, this time to a town square to find and collect some research data. Within this town square, there are numerous stores, infrastructures, and overrun research sites that you have to loot to find this data. And just like the convention center, this objective can prove to be very difficult, as you can be overrun like a wasp in a beehive. But once you collect the seemingly countless amounts of research data, you can finally escape via helicopter on the roof of the bank. Fighting your way towards the helicopter kind of feels like a movie with how many zombies pour in from all directions. And with traversal being more vertical than anything, the bank can easily become your tomb site if you're not careful enough. Not gonna lie, this extraction makes me want to see a future map that's entirely vertical based. Like maybe you and the other responders have to explore a skyscraper or something, and the further up you go, the more overwhelming the zombies are. Kinda just like Die Rise, but in No More Room in Hell 2 fashion. That's just the thought though, but nonetheless, Pottsville is a very solid map. I enjoy that the spawn locations are in one general area rather than being spread throughout the entire map, and with the map being sectioned off into 3 different segments, it makes this mission very unique. Now, in any game, adding one new map for all to play is a pretty cool thing to do, especially if the map is as enjoyable as Pottsville. But you wanna know what's cooler than adding one new map? This. Oh, and I guess a second new map. This is Lewiston, and like Pottsville, this map is very enjoyable. This mission takes place in the city, where buildings and barricades alike will constrict the player from wandering around wherever they please. Upon spawning in a random store with maybe other responders, you're tasked with gathering supplies and extracting some more worthless survivors who can't help themselves with anything. To gather these supplies, you, of course, have to loot different stores that are placed around the map. These stores, like in Pottsville, are such an easy death trap. Not only will the alarms go off, which will undoubtedly attract more infected, but there's also some environmental danger. Stuff like gas leaks and fire are very common and can prove to be even more dangerous than the dead themselves. So it's always best to stay on your toes within these places. What makes these stores really special though is their random spawn locations. Apart from a few select areas, most stores will be placed randomly around the city to ensure that each playthrough is different from the last. After gathering supplies, the useless survivor on the radio asks you to find some research data that the scientists have abandoned, which honestly feels like a filler objective given the fact that this is nearly identical to what you had to do in Pottsville. You just go to another building, collect data, and that's about it. This part feels very blasé, and it feels even less engaging than what you had to do in the other area. What's not blasé is the final task you need to do, and that is to repair a motherfucking train to get the fuck out of there. From restoring power to full-on repairing the train tracks, this part always had me on my toes. It's not just go to a new area and wait till a helicopter arrives. No, you and the other responders have to work together in order to even have a chance to get the hell out of there. All while this is happening, so many zombies flood into the rail yard, possibly the most I've seen in any extraction. I know I've been saying unique a lot, but this is so unique and so fun and so challenging. Everything you would want in a final objective like this. There is no doubt that Lewiston and Pottsville are incredibly vital to help revive No More Room in Hell 2. I mean, yeah, any new map is very necessary in a game like this, or in really any game, but the overall quality of these maps is very good, to the point where I will sacrifice my high build character if I load into the power plant. If only the public matchmaking allowed you to pick what map you wanted to play. Other than the new maps, there's also quite a new features that admittedly should have been here upon launch. The most apparent feature is the infection system. Now, when a zombie attacks you, there's a chance that you become infected with whatever virus this is that I'm too lazy to look up myself. The chance of becoming infected goes up if you go into critical health, or if you lose a lot of stamina, or if you stay too long in the green mist that some special zombies let out, or if a zombie just bites you, then yeah, you're infected. The way to tell if you're infected is if this white vignette slowly fades into your screen while your character coughs up their lungs, Over time, this infection will completely take over your screen, with random veins and other shit popping up to notify you of your soon-to-be demise. Your character will also sound far sicker, and you'll even start to hear voices calling to you to like infect the survivor's water supply or whatever it is zombies do.
Ammo's fresh out! No ammo!
What I really like about this infection system is the way your character sounds when they talk. They start to form a raspier, more reverbed voice that not only you can hear, but nearby responders can hear as well.
We don't need all this security now, do we?
So if you do hear someone and sound very fucked up, stay the hell away from them. Now, if you end up becoming infected, there is a chance of surviving. In total, there are about 4 ways to counteract the infection. The 2 easiest ways are by taking some perk 30s or a gene therapy kit. These pills are relatively easy to find in most medical containers, but the downside is that they'll only stop the symptoms of the infection. So if you're on the verge of eating your friend's meat, you take the pills and boom, the symptoms start back from the beginning. Although these pills are very necessary to survive, they're only temporary solutions. You're still infected, and the pill bottle will dry up far before you finish the mission. On the other hand though, the gene therapy kit is a more permanent solution to stopping the infection. I mean, unless you get bitten again. These kits are far rarer to find throughout the world. Like, in my time playing this game, I've only found this kit I think 2 times before, but with it stopping the virus for good, it's clear why these are so valuable. By the way, to the people who are watching this and are like really pissed off about this therapy kit, how it doesn't even work when you're infected, you have to insert it twice into your body. You insert it once to like draw up blood or something, and then you have to wait 30 seconds, and then you stick it back. And there's a lot of people who got pissed off about this therapy kit. It's kind of crazy how many people got upset about this without even fully understanding the feature, because that's No More Room in Hell 2 fans for you. However, if you can't find either of them throughout your playthrough, you can do a couple more things to stop the infection. Extracting while infected also allows you to survive and live on to see another mission. However, you will get less XP from extracting than if you left normally. But extraction only happens at the tail end of the mission, so if you're left infected at the beginning of the game with no medicine in sight, the final solution to solving your problem is by well, committing the final solution. All in all, I think this infection system is a nice addition to No More Room in Hell 2. It adds a whole new layer of dying into the game, and it can be very stressful to find any sort of pills to subdue your inevitable death. I've had numerous times where either I or other responders run around the area absolutely begging anyone for pills as they're seconds away from turning, and then they die. It makes the game feel far more immersive and even more dangerous, as it makes me think twice about taking on a group of zombies if I have the chance of slowly turning into one. The last really notable feature that's been changed around in No More Room in Hell 2 is a weighted inventory system. When this game was first released, the inventory system was very bland. Like, very bland. I kind of forgot what it was like. I think you had like a set amount of spaces that you could put anything into, no matter how large the object was, and the only way to increase the said inventory space was if you were to unlock a skill for it in the character customization menu, but that's really about it. It was nothing special in the slightest, the UI looked pretty bland and ugly, and it simply just did not feel like a No More Room in Hell style inventory, but that's all changed. Now we have an inventory with a much better system set in a much cleaner looking UI. You're not limited to how many items you can carry anymore, but rather how much weight you can hold. Of course, the smaller items will weigh less, and vice versa, and there's also far more stuff that'll expand your inventory, like more skills that'll affect your carry weight, how much something weighs, so on and so forth. And if that's not enough, there's also collectibles that you can pick up while scavenging that can increase your overall carry weight. This inventory system feels so much more complex than the original, and I love it for that reason. I feel like I have to keep more of an eye on what I pick up and leave behind. Beforehand, I never had to worry about my inventory space. Even the base amount of spaces was plentiful enough. But then that added skill that lets you pick up even more made this trifling problem even less worrisome. This was a well-needed addition, because without it, it made No More Room in Hell 2 look like any other zombie game. Aside from the new additions like the one I have mentioned, Torn Banner Studios has also added quite a few smaller changes to the game. But because I don't want this video to go over 20 minutes, it's definitely gonna be over 20 minutes. I'm just gonna list off some of the more notable things that they've added or changed around. Starting off with, the power plant has now numerous ways to beat the missions. Sometimes you will have to repair the actual machines within that annoying puzzle room, and other times you have to roam around different parts of the entire plant to fix up whatever is happening there. With that, there's also some other changes to the power plant before going to the actual facility. The different side areas that you need to go to beforehand now have radios that you need to turn on and contact HQ, and once you've done that, that, you'll now need to find specific key cards that'll open up specific checkpoints surrounding the plant. This makes doing these side missions a lot more reasonable and understanding on why you had to do that, because in the release, I don't think anyone understood why we had to go to these places in the first place. Character customization had a bit of a change to it. Spoiler alert, you still actually can't customize what your character looks like, because why would we want that in a zombie survival game, am I right? But now, you can buy different weapons and accessories to bring out into the missions. These items can be bought through a non-purchasable credit system that you earn after completing certain tasks in the missions. Even though this is a cool feature, I guess, I see no need for this. Apart from a few things like the adrenaline or the ranger boots, most of the stuff can be easily found while scavenging, and the purchasable things that are valuable are very much locked away behind an obscurely high level, so I've never seen myself needing to use this system in the slightest. What I do use now though is the new character saves. You can now pick one of 3 different characters of your choosing to bring out into the field, so if you have a higher level character but want to play with a low level friend because they suck total ass at the game and will die after attacking one fucking zombie, I'm looking at you, the channel with a freakishly long name.
Fuck you.
Now you can bring out an expendable low-level character. Over a dozen new weapons have been added periodically to the game. These range from new guns, new melee weapons, you name it. And fun fact, there was a time where the new tree branch trimmer was the ultimate god weapon that you can find, as just one swing at the zombie's legs will immediately cripple them. And soon enough, they would just be crawlers that you can easily avoid. But that's been changed around, and now the tree trimmer low-key sucks ass now. So I don't know why I'm including this in the video. I thought y'all just should know. There are now weapon attachments that you can accessorize your gun with. Some attachments are a silencer for your pistols and rifles, a flashlight that does not need a battery, and sights that honestly are bugged out and should be avoided. Combat has been reworked, giving a more analog style to it. Depending on what you press, your character will swing that weapon in that direction, so it's not really optimal to spam left click a zombie anymore, but rather to time your swings back and forth to effectively knock them out. There's also now kicking, so if you're caught up in a jam while trying to get past a zombie, you can now kick them to the ground to create some space. And lastly, there are new zombie types. These aren't like the zombie types that you would see in games like Dead Island, so don't expect a suicider to roll up on you, but there are zombies that relate to whatever occupation they had before dying. So you'll find some SWAT zombies that are armored to the teeth and are very hard to take down. There are firefighter zombies that have a little armor to them, but also have an explodable oxygen tank that can take out a couple zombies next to them. And the screamer zombie has been reworked quite a bit. It can now be found a lot more commonly throughout the world, and I mentioned this earlier, but when they die, they emit a green mist that can be very harmful to the player while also spreading to nearby zombies. That's all cool and whatever, but in my opinion, this shit still sucks. And that's because there are still no child zombies. I mean, come on, what's it take for a guy to smash in the head of a child? But with all the new, fun, hip, exciting, and other adjectives to describe these features, we have to talk about the future of No More Room in Hell 2. Even with all the latest additions over the months, I can't say this game is anywhere near finished. I mean, every time I load up into the game, I still experience many bugs. The optimization is still piss poor, especially if I'm fighting a group of zombies. Like, this frame rate is horrible, and I'm someone with an RTX 4060 and a graphics driver that hasn't updated since 2023, so that should be saying something. But above all else, No More Room in Hell 2 is still lackluster. I cannot find myself playing this game for more than a few hours per update, as my friends and I have done everything that's available. And by the time this video is out, I will have already played all 3 maps about a dozen times each, so I'll have no reason to come back to play this anytime soon. There's only so much of this naked running zombie that one man can handle, and this sentiment has been very much shared as this game has just died since April. Well, to give an insight on what to expect for the rest of the summer, Torn Banner Studios released a Reanimation Plus trailer during the PC Gaming Show event a little while ago. In this 40-second trailer, alongside a blog post on Steam, fans were given a little taste on the new features that should be rolling out relatively soon enough. Some notable things are character customization, finally. Now you don't have to play as long-haired countryman whose fashion choice rivals a 3rd grader. There's a new sporting rifle, as well as its new required ammunition caliber, the 22 rounds, both of which kinda sounds like ass from the way Torn Banner worded it in the description. A 22 round is an extremely light ammunition type that's traditionally used for hunting small game, is probably the worst thing to describe this new ammo type, especially when something as low caliber as the 9mm takes 2 headshots to kill a normal infected. There will also be smaller extractions once the group count reaches below a certain point, which is a great way to survive another mission, as your dumbass teammates find the worst way to die, and most importantly, importantly, there will be a 4th map added to the game, with it being fan favorite Broadway. Taking place in Queens, New York, this city map will most likely tickle the nostalgia bone for many Normal Room in Hell 1 fans, as even the devs think this, so I have high expectations for this map. But those are the new or upcoming features for No More Room in Hell 2. All in all, this game has gone quite the distance over the span of 8 months since its horrid release. It seems as if Torn Banner really wanted to make right for this game and turn it into the desired sequel that the franchise and its fans needed. Not only are the consistent updates a great thing to see, but the blogs and absolute transparency Torn Banner shows give at least me some hope for the future of this game. But to answer the title of my video, is No More Room in Hell 2 good now? No. Like I mentioned, there's still a lot to be desired for this sequel. Even with the bugs and poor optimization aside, I probably won't play this until the major update comes out. There's just no reason for me to jump back in, there's no end goal, and there's barely any replayability after playing for some time. Adding 2 new maps is great, but 3 overall won't carry this game for months on end until more are added later. I do believe that there is still major potential for No More Room in Hell 2, but where it's at right now, and for what it's priced at, there's no chance in hell that I would recommend my friends to buy this at the moment. In all honesty, I think this game would be in a much better state had it be released exactly like this and not what we got back in October. That state was so obviously rushed that it felt like, for a while, the devs were more focused on fixing their mistakes than they were adding new stuff. A lot of time and overall hype was just wasted at the tail end of 2024, and by the time that they could add in big new features, the player count was way below 4 digits. And this all could have been avoided had the game been delayed for more time. I don't know anybody in the world who would rather have a broken, messy game instantly over a more polished and expanded one after a few months. Because once you set in the players' minds that your release is bad to play and not enjoyable, it's really hard and really rare to change that mindset around. Like I said though, with the amount of updates and posts Torn Banner has been putting out, I do think that No More Room in Hell 2 will be good, just eventually. At this rate, we might have to wait until the end of 2025 to get a meaningful and playable experience, but who knows though? Not me. Or maybe I do. I don't. What do you guys think about No More Room in Hell 2? Do you guys like it or hate it? Do you guys even know what it is? Because if not, check out my video on its initial release. Anyways, if you guys like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. I'm so close to 10,000 subscribers, which is really cool. And if that milestone is hit before June 18th at 9:52 South African time, I will do absolutely nothing. Alright, get out of here. Bye for now.